Hello and welcome to our third and final webinar for Crowdfund Angus. I'm Katie Austin, I'm a crowdfunding coach and I'm broadcasting live today from a little bit of a grizzly grey and Yuki. And I'm really lucky to be joined today by Katie from Red Catch Community Garden in Bristol. She's going to talk to us a little bit today about what they did when they were running their project, the project that they ran with us back in June. And so I'm just going to pass over to Katie to introduce herself and just tell us a little bit about what they were trying to achieve with their crowdfunder project.
Cool. Hi everybody, I'm Katie from Red Catch Community Garden. So yeah, initially the idea for our crowdfunder was to raise help us start our community garden. And within that we wanted to have some polytunnels to grow fruit and veg, a health and wellbeing garden and a cafe to serve our lovely produce from. And we wanted to have something for all sort of aspects of the community, for the kids, for the older people, for people working, people with mental health, that sort of thing. So we came across the idea of crowdfunding. I'd heard of it a bit, but not really. And so we put together a project with Bristol Green Capital's support as well. So Bristol Green Capital and Crowdfunder working together. So yeah.
Thanks, Katie. So today we're going to be talking about running your project, and just as a recap, in the last two webinars we first looked at planning your project, so finding your network, and then in the second webinar last week we talked about creating your project and how to create the perfect project page and a little bit about rewards as well. And so today we're going to look at what happens when you press that go live button. How are you going to promote your project once you go live, and how are you going to prepare for that? And a little bit about the different, the main channels of communication that we suggest using, a bit about the strategy that we recommend. And so also this is a great time to talk about the guides. We have 3 amazing downloadable PDF guides that go alongside these webinars. And today's guide has got lots more fantastic tips about what to do when you're running your project that we might not mention in a lot of detail today. So definitely make sure you go and download those. Okay, and so the most scary part of running a crowdfunding project is the day when you launch. And we're going to have a little chat about what's the best way to prepare for that. A plan will really help to calm your nerves and make sure you run a successful campaign. We just want to go over to Katie just to ask, how did you prepare for your launch, and did you do anything particular on launch day to get your project off to a good start, Katie?
Yeah, we did. So to start with, we spent quite a bit of time thinking about who the customers were and what they wanted. And then also between us, the 7 of us in this project, we sat round the table and thought about who is influential, do we know any famous people, who are our personal contacts, which groups are we part of. I made a big old list, a big kind of spider diagram of who knows who. Mm-hmm. And so everybody owned a section on that list, and they were responsible for the comms going out to those parties or organisations. We've got one lady who's in charge of all our kind of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and she took control of all of that, and we had everything being signed off, as it were, through her, so that we had one voice. We weren't all kind of chipping in with all random stuff. So she was responsible for hitting sort of go live button, and then once she'd done that, each of us were triggered to send out messages or emails or notifications to the groups that we had earmarked to us. And we found that worked quite well, because you could use the content, the official content from the crowdfunder page, or links, and then you could kind of personalize that slightly to the groups that went out, and using your voice because you knew those groups. So that was kind of what we did initially, to try and get a really big bang all at once and get everybody really, get a lot of noise really quickly, and try and get money in as quickly as possible for that. Because our competition was maybe slightly different to other crowdfunding in that we were trying to reach a certain amount, because it was a competition with other organisations. So we had a kind of deadline to try and get to a certain amount as quickly as possible, rather than just the overall total as well.
Thanks, Katie. But it's a good idea to, from the get-go, really get the motivation going, and try to get as many pledges onto the project in that like first 24 hours. And that leads onto these really key pieces of crowdfunding strategy that I'm going to share with you now. And the first one, we really recommend lining up at least the first 10% of your pledges before you go live to go onto your project in that first 24 hours. And we always say to start from the middle and work your way out. So going back to look at your network map, and the first people to hear about your project should be those closest to you. So that inner network, people with a direct connection to you who will already know about the project because you're going to be telling everybody about it. And also the people that they're already sold on it. They trust you, so they're not going to take much convincing to pledge on the project. So we're talking about friends, family, colleagues and neighbours, and it's from within that group where you want to try and find that first 10% of pledges too. And so having going into your project, pressing the go live button, knowing that you've got some guaranteed money going on there in that first 24 hours will help you to feel nice and calm. And it also creates a bandwagon, so that when you go out to your wider networks, people who might not know you so well, don't know about the project quite so much, when they go to see your project, they can see lots of people have supported it already. And this makes them think, well, if they think it's a good idea, then we must do too. It's very much a herd mentality with crowdfunding. So really start from that inner circle before you push out to people who you don't know so well. And thirdly, you really want to think carefully about the messaging that you're putting out during your campaign. Thinking about what is the difference between spammy messaging and stuff that's purposeful, relevant and really well thought out and well targeted towards the different groups of your audience. So we want to go back again to your network map, looking at those different groups of people and thinking about what exactly it is that's going to interest them about that project, and really tailoring your content accordingly. And also deciding what's the best way to get in contact with each of those people. Is it going to be picking up the phone? Is it going to be a direct email or message on Facebook? Are they most likely going to kind of see it on a shared Facebook post? And kind of knowing which people are going to be targeted by which messaging can help you to tailor it really well. And so there are good days and there are bad days with crowdfunding. In an ideal world, we would see the same number of pledges each day, and even the number of pledges going higher and higher. But as we can see from this graph that's been taken from a crowdfunding project, this isn't quite the case. Traditionally, we'll see a big dip in the middle of a crowdfunding project. So this is the pledges day by day throughout a campaign. And it's very normal to see this plateau in the middle and a spike of pledges at the beginning and the end of a project. So don't panic when the pledges start to kind of die down a little bit. However, if we know this is going to come, we can be really proactive and we can put things into our plan to fight against this downward kind of curve. So as you can see from this project, they've obviously done something in that centre. I think it was an event at Easter weekend to really reignite the fire of interest and the number of pledges coming onto the project. So that might be some events that you put on in the centre of your project. Maybe you release some new rewards, or maybe you try and put out some press releases, get some bloggers interested at that middle point. That's really important to factor that into your plan. And then back to you, Katie. What did you kind of find was the best thing? Oh, okay, I think we might have just lost Katie. Oh no, she's there. Hi, so Katie, what is the, I think, has she gone? I think she's gone. Is she there? I think we might have just lost Katie for a moment. So we're going to carry on. Hopefully she might come back into the call in a moment. But basically, we're next going to look at the, two key channels of communication that we find the most effective during a crowdfunding campaign. And that's email and social media. And in particular, we're going to talk about Facebook. So these are two quite different beasts. So to have someone's email address, it's very likely that you kind of know them or have some sort of direct connection with them already. And your email list is going to be quite set. I mean, you can do things to increase your email list throughout your campaign, but it's very different to social media, where we have the possibility of getting in touch with loads of people who aren't in our world already. And we're going to look at a couple of different ways to tap into those wider circles through Facebook in just a moment. And so we're going to talk about now what makes a really good Facebook post. This is really important. And number one, the first rule of crowdfunding is you don't have to always talk about the fact you're crowdfunding. So yeah, you want to be bringing it back to the crowdfunding project, but we want to be mixing up the content and not only talking about saying, please come and pledge on our crowdfunding project now, but also talking about what you're doing, what's so great about your project. For example, with Red Catch Community Garden, they might be saying, oh, look at this amazing produce that we've got out of the ground today. Look at these great volunteers who've come to help out in the garden today. So really thinking carefully about what kind of exciting, engaging content you can use. Number two, start collecting up a bank of really bold and beautiful imagery to use in your Facebook posts. And that's really useful to kind of start doing that before you go live, so you're not scrambling about trying to get hold of them. So images work fantastically on Facebook, so you always want to be putting a really great photograph in all of your posts and mix it up as well. And number three, video rocks. Video works fantastically on Facebook. And especially, I know it's scary, but Facebook Live is amazing. So really recommend taking the plunge and doing some Facebook Lives during your campaign. You can delete them if they're awful afterwards, it's no problem, but people love them, and it really shows the humans behind the project. It's excellent way to use Facebook. And for a call to action, even though you don't want to be just talking about the crowdfunding project, we always want to bring it back to it and make sure you always include a link to your crowdfunding project on every post. It's really sad when we see projects putting out all these amazing posts on Facebook of engaging content and got loads of people commenting on it, but there's no link to their crowdfunding project. So make sure it's always on there. So we're going to have a little chat about Facebook pages. So if you haven't got a Facebook page yet, I really recommend getting one. It's so useful. during your campaign, and as we said, to reach out to those wider audiences. And creating a specific Facebook page as opposed to using your own personal account has a lot of there's a lot of extra really cool things that you can do. So for example, when you're sharing a video, you can do a photo carousel. So you might have seen on Facebook when you get a few a few photos that you can scroll through on a post. So you can create that through your page. And you can also create an event. This doesn't actually have to be a live event either. This could be a virtual event. So you could set an event for when your crowdfunding project's going live and invite everybody in your network to it, just so that they know it's happening. And another incredible thing that you can do on Facebook is boosting posts. And this is really easy, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on it. You'll notice that when you put a post on your Facebook page, this little blue button will come up on the post saying boost post. And if you press that, it'll go through and you can select an audience that the post is going to be put out to and boosted out to on Facebook. So you can choose an age group, you can choose location, you can choose gender or interests. So you can make it really specifically targeted. So you can make sure that the right people see that post. And you only, I think it's a minimum of £1 a day. So you could do it for 7 days, £7. That's hardly anything. We'd really, really recommend doing that. And also I'd play about with your different audiences before you go live. Put a couple of posts out, put a couple of pounds on them and choose different types of audience and see which works best. That'll help to use it really effectively during your campaign. And another really cool thing that you can do is invite to like. To grow your audience. So say you boosted this post and you've had loads of likes on it. However, not all of these people like your Facebook page yet. And what you can do is you can go and click on where the people have liked it, so where the thumbs up and the heart signs are showing, and that'll come up with this list of all the people who've liked that post, and it'll tell you if they have already liked your page or not. And if it comes up saying invite, click that, and it'll send them a little invite to come and like your page. So do that on every single post that you're sharing, especially those boosted posts, and that'll really grow your audience. And it'll mean that those people who like that post come like your page, and they'll see a lot more of the stuff that you're sharing. A really great tip. So I think we've got Katie back with us now.
Yeah.
What did you find the kind of the most effective things that to communicate with your audience during your campaign? How did you kind of use Facebook?
Well, we had a number of groups that are either linked or had an interest in our organisation. So there's another group who are part of the park called Friends of Red Catch, and they have 500-600 members. So they were already people that were using the park. So you already have a vested interest in what's going on in the garden area of the park. So that was kind of flagged up initially as one key group to make sure we had a good relationship with them. And then there are a few others around the city. So one called Incredible Edible, who are a group that promotes sustainable gardening and low carbon food. So there were 3 or 4 others like this. There was a schools group, highlighted which of those, if you like, we wanted to make sure shared all of our posts. And then we found out the person who was in charge of those pages. And if we didn't already know them, we made contact with them and say, please share every time we post something. Can you please share that onto your group? So that meant that whilst we were gaining members to our own page, because initially it was quite low because it's a new organisation, the reach was still really wide because it went to all these other places of hopefully then going to go and make a pledge. The other thing we found worked quite well was every time a pledge sold, so we had lots of different pledges that had come from donations from the community for different things or activities. So whenever anything sold, we said that how many were left or one's gone, and promoted it, and that gave a promotion to the organisation that gave us the thing. So then they went on and shared it to all their people, and also it kind of, you know, gave a bit of momentum to people to say, oh look, oh I can see the types of things that are up for grabs, I need to go on and have a look. So those two things I think worked pretty well for us. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks, Katie. And of course, it's not just Facebook. And as we said, there's going to be lots of other ways to promote your project. And there's loads more detail on that in the packs, but we'll just go over a couple of those quickly. So press, especially local press, if it's a local project, like a lot of yours will be up in Angus, get a local press release out. And if you have a website, make sure that you have it clearly displayed on your homepage that you're crowdfunding, and a link to your crowdfunder page. And we've kind of mentioned events a little bit, but really think about planning some events throughout your crowdfunder campaign, especially at the launch and the closing and in that middle bit of your project. And also, there's offline things we can do, so posters and flyers, taking those out to local businesses, putting them up around your local area works really well too. And also a really important one is updates. So on your crowdfunder page, you'll see there's a little update tab. And in your dashboard on the right hand side, there's a little button that says post an update. And so when you post an update, this sends a message out to everybody who's already supported you. So everybody who's pledged on the project will get an email with this update. And it'll also be seen on your crowdfunding page. A really great way to keep everybody updated on how it's all going, and calling them to help your project along, getting them to share the link with their friends and family, and on their social media accounts as well. So really definitely think about using that. And a really great tool for during your project, during your campaign, is your dashboard. There's some really great information on here that'll tell you how you're doing and what like social channels are working really well. So you can see along the top that third blue box where it says 8.5%. This is your conversion rate. So this is how many people that come and look at your page actually converted to make a pledge. We want to see that at average around 5%. So you can see they're doing really well. They're a little bit higher than average, 8.5. So if it's lower than 5, we can think, right, okay, what do we need to do to get people converting to make a pledge a bit better? And also in this white box at the bottom, we can see where all of our pledges are coming from. So you can see this project, Facebook was really strong. They've got 31 pledges coming from Facebook. That's 70% of their pledges. So they're obviously doing a really good Facebook campaign. And so they know that that's where they should focus more effort as compared to other things. And also, so remember, you've got to go and apply for the Angus funding, and you can do this on the Angus page. Here, a little pop-up will come up on your project. As you can see here, there'll be a little yellow box that'll pop up and say, apply, tell me more about the specific funding. So click on that, and this will take you to the application form, and also make sure that you check the eligibility criteria, and to make sure you're kind of explaining everything you need to in your project and ticking all those boxes too. If you need any help with that, just get in touch. And so just going to go back to Katie to ask for her top piece of advice for someone who's about to launch their crowdfunding project.
Cool. Yeah, so I've got a couple of things. I think the video is great. We did like things happening. That's great. If you don't mind, get some humans in there and get humans to talk to humans and get people to like you and want to support you. And really important, try and match the rewards to your audience and make sure there's something for everybody, because sometimes people want to support but they might not find a thing they really want. So we spent quite a lot of time thinking, what do the different customers, what would they like? Obviously they can just go and give you some money. That's great too if they want to do that. But that's key. So they then feel like the campaign or the project or the organization forever, and then you can go back to them next time, which is what we're planning to do soon, and say, look what we did with the first lot of crowdfunding. Now you've seen that your £5 has helped deliver this. Can we have another £5, please? So that's probably my tips. Yeah.
Thanks, Katie. That's great. And you actually had your launch day on Saturday, didn't you?
We did, yeah. We had our launch party officially on Saturday. Went fantastically well. We've had some really, really good feedback. And yeah, we're on it now, strength to strength. We're good to go. So yeah, we're good.
Thanks, Katie. So what to do next? Pick a launch date, get the date in your diary and stick to it. And number 2, get your email address book together. Gather all the ways you need to contact people before you go live, so you get everything in the same place. And 3, if you've not done so yet, set up a Facebook page. And if you do have a Facebook page, start gathering content and start posting some engaging stuff in the warm-up to your crowdfunder as well. So thanks everybody for joining today, and if you need any help, we are available by email at support@crowdfunder.co.uk. So thanks everybody for joining, and the next step is to press that go live button. So best of luck everyone, and thanks Katie.
Thank you, good luck.
Thanks, bye.
Cheers.